Are you afraid to take a look deep inside yourself to find out who you truly are? To look those shitty parts of yourself right in the eye and offer them love? You don't have to be afraid of yourself anymore. This human world of ours is, and definitely can be, very messed up. We all want to be ourselves, yet we struggle with the need to fit in. Society paints a picture of how we're supposed to be, and we have to find a way to fit ourselves into that picture. But what if you're a Monet and the picture is a Van Gogh, or you're a Picasso trying to assimilate yourself into the background of the Mona Lisa? Getting to know yourself is extremely important, because then you're just flitting through life, just being whatever, not really caring, just doing, just fitting in where you can. And it doesn't really help, I guess, the big picture of who you are. Because your picture is very different to everybody else's picture. But it's studying that picture and seeing all the little mistakes that have been drawn in there, or the little scratches, and maybe there's little bits missing, seeing the beauty that is also there, the mess, the love that has gone into that picture, or maybe the love that is missing from that picture. Because you are many things, you have lived many things, and knowing who you are wholly and completely, it's a tough job, especially when you haven't really given yourself the time and attention to do that. I did not want to know myself at all. As I said in part one, believed very much that I was this one very specific person and that there was nothing else to me. I wanted there to be more to me than that. My picture was very grim. It was dark. It was moody. It was just... I ruined it, basically, by believing the shit inside of my head and not trusting myself enough to paint myself a different picture, to scratch underneath all of that so that it revealed the true picture of who I am. Because I was living that, but that was not who I really was. That's just who I became because of life, because of the life that I lived, because of the stuff that infiltrated into my life and into my mind and my heart and just changed everything. So ask yourself this question: why are you afraid to get to know yourself better? Is it because you have a lot of focus on your shitty parts? We tend to do that as humans. We focus on the shitty first. And as much as we may attempt to change that focus and go, hang on, no, actually, I am quite all right. I am pretty good. I am pretty fucking amazing. We then are swamped with all of the reasons why those words aren't true. The mind loves to tell us all of the reasons why we can't be any of that good stuff. So knowing who you are on a deeper level is important, especially when you want to get yourself away from all of those parts that you know you don't like, that you don't trust, that you don't want to be anymore. Trusting yourself when you don't normally trust yourself is a challenge. Trusting yourself to look within feels not so good, doesn't it? Because it is hard to look at ourselves, to take a really long, hard look at ourselves. When you go, take a long, hard look at yourself. It is so hard. And it's challenging. It's scary. It brings up things that you don't want to feel. But it's important because knowing who you are amongst all of that and being honest with yourself about who you are right now frees you up to be less afraid of yourself. It frees you up to connect to yourself even more and therefore trust in yourself even more. So what is inside you exactly? What are all of these things that have brought you to who you are today? To that woman who is afraid to know herself, is afraid to trust herself. You have all of the beliefs inside of your head, and most of them are negative. We believe the negative shit first, as I've said. We believe that we are all of these horrible things before we ever believe that we are so much more than that we are plenty good. Of course, there's all of your thoughts. Those mean and horrible thoughts inside of your head that constantly tell you you are not good enough, and all of the shit that comes with that. Of course, there is how you feel. Everything that we do in our life is because we want to feel something or we want to run away from something. I don't know why this example just popped in my head, but you play the piano because it feels good to you. It gives you something that just feels amazing. You may not be able to put it into words, but it just, playing the piano makes you feel alive. It makes you feel good. The music just emanates from every cell of your being. Or you were forced to play the piano as a child and you absolutely hate it, but yet people keep asking you to play the piano because you're actually quite good at it. You learnt to become very good at it. But because it gives you a really horrible feeling, you don't like it, you feel pressure, maybe your parents only seem to love you when you're playing the piano, whatever it might be. You run away from that feeling because you don't want to feel that. So feelings, they're very important. They are our guidance system, really. They tell you whether what you're doing is right or whether what you're doing is maybe not the right thing. I can look back on my life and judge my experiences by how I felt. But yet how I felt was always pretty awful. I hated myself. I didn't believe that I deserved to have whatever I was having in the moment, even though it was something good. I may have had that good feeling, but it was always quickly taken away by horrible feelings, the feelings that I deserved. I deserved to feel bad. I deserved to feel shitty. I deserved to feel angry and depressed and anxious and just really, I deserved to hate myself. That was all I ever deserved. So in those moments when I felt good, they didn't last because I didn't deserve those. So in came the feelings that I did deserve. And my mind certainly didn't help the situation because it would then tell me all the reasons why I deserved to feel shitty instead of feeling good. And because I had lived in that for so long, that was my comfort zone. That was my familiar. That was what I knew. And anything out of that was scary. It didn't actually feel comfortable to feel good. And I've had to work on that quite a lot over the years. being comfortable with feeling good, because that's all I ever knew. And it really affected how I lived day to day, how my heart, how my heart felt. It felt constantly heavy. I wanted it to feel light. I wanted it to feel free and giving and just feel that love that I felt I had been missing for so long. But I couldn't have that because I didn't trust myself enough to know that it was okay to have that. And I certainly was too afraid of myself, that version of myself, to have it. This was all I knew. So that's what I lived in. And I've worked very hard to move myself from there over to the good parts of myself. And I've done that by getting to know myself on a really deep level, by acknowledging every part of myself, by being honest with myself. That's one of the hardest things to do. Going, okay, my behavior was really bad. The words coming out of my mouth were really awful. I was so angry with myself and upset and depressed and all of that shit that it exploded out of me when it really shouldn't have. And it exploded out of me in ways that were hurtful to other people. Admitting that to myself, it's hard. Admitting that to other people is hard. By letting them know that I was not kind. I was not kind to myself. How could I be kind to anyone else? I did not love myself. So how could I really love anyone else? And all of that hurt and that pain, it kept exploding out of me in ways that caused hurt and pain to other people. And I got that back too. People gave me hurt and pain that it just kind of piled on. And then it kept exploding out. It was just this vicious cycle. So getting to know myself and understanding why all of that was happening, it was very important. It really helped me to just take a step back and know that, yes, these things may have happened, but they're not me. I can see that other people did that because of the way that they were feeling. It doesn't make it okay, but also when we understand that people do these things because they're not okay, it helps a little bit. It helps us to understand that everybody is suffering in one way or another, and people deal with that in one way or another. Sometimes it's productive, sometimes it's not so productive, and it can be quite hurtful. So being honest with yourself and going really deep and looking at all of those experiences that you've had does free yourself up to build that trust again, to not be so afraid of yourself, of that version of yourself that you can feel, that you want to become. Because that honesty it's liberating. It has to be acknowledged, because that is a part of you, whether you like it or not. It has become a part of you. We do have, all of us, and you can see it in children. Children have very mean streaks, and we've seen it. They can be so beautiful and sweet, and then all of a sudden they are so mean. We do have these parts of ourselves. It's like the devil and the angel on the shoulder. It's that shadow part of us. We can't get rid of it. We just have to learn to acknowledge it a little bit more, give it our love, and understand that we don't have to live in all of that, that we can make that part smaller. Maybe not completely disappear, of course, but we grow this other, more beautiful, loving, kind part of ourselves. We have to trust that that can be done. How do you trust any of that? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about in video 3, the most important part of you. If you are finding this video helpful, then please share it with someone you know in case they need to hear these words too. And thank you for liking and subscribing to Love Body Woman for more ways to listen, learn, and love. Now comes the hard part for you. Cracking yourself wide open to take a look at everything, and I mean everything that we've just talked about. You have to look at all of that. So how have I done that for myself? Well, as I said, I've had to get honest. One of the best things that I do is I question everything. I question everything inside my head. And I talk to myself regularly to get stuff out of me. I put the app on my phone, I'm not sure what it's called, the audio one where you can just record yourself. And I talk to myself. I don't go back and listen to them unless there's something in there that I really need, like a little bit of information that I want to share. But I don't listen to them. I don't need to listen to them. But I have found that very therapeutic. Getting all of that stuff inside of me out. I am still in the process of getting stuff out of me. I've got a lot of stuff out. I've acknowledged a lot of stuff. I have cleaned up a lot of stuff. And I've learnt to trust myself and not be so afraid of what all that stuff is inside me anymore. Another great thing that I have done for myself is that I've actually stopped listening to people. I've stopped listening to other people. Like, I really love information. I love learning. And I love finding people who can teach me something that takes me beyond what I already know. But at this point, I think I'm in information overload. So I've had to just take a step back. I haven't stopped 100%, but there's still things I need to learn and need to know every day. But I'm not, I guess, binging it. I don't want to overload myself too much because it does get overwhelming for me. I do get overwhelmed somewhat easily. So knowing that about myself and trusting that it's okay for me to go, okay, I am overwhelmed. Let's just take a step back and take a break. That's important. So I take the bits and pieces that I need, and I remember bits and pieces that I need in the moment that help me. And then I just have to leave the rest. Can't do it all because it is too much. There's a lot of information out there these days and it can get very overwhelming. So if you need to just, find a little bits here and there to listen to, then that's okay. We don't have to take it all on at once. And another very important part of what I've done to learn to trust myself is that I'm kind to myself now. I get to be kind to myself because I know that I deserve it. Just plain and simple, I deserve it. So why not be kind to myself? And you get to be kind to yourself too. Those horrible thoughts in your head, they're mean and nasty, but you don't have to listen to them because they aren't the truth. The kindness is your truth, and it will always be the truth. I have a workbook for you to download that offers the first few questions that you can